Hello students! In today's video we will learn when we can push the pawns towards opponent's king or weaknesses on the side of the board. One of the most important principles in chess teaches us that we can aim for wing or flank attacks when our opponents don't have counterplay in the center, and when we have superiority of the pieces on that particular side of the board. I discovered that on the flank where you're more active, you want to create weaknesses in opponent's position even at the cost of creating weaknesses in your own position, since the player with more active pieces will be the one developing the initiative and attacking, capitalizing on those created weaknesses. The position in front of you occurred in a game between two strong grandmasters. Can you believe that White resigned after just 8 moves, even though he did not blunder a tactic? Normally, we would just castle in such position and continue with a normal developing game. However, Black here had an enticing idea. One pawn move came to his mind, h5. The idea behind this move is of course to attack the White's king. This would help us to bring the knight to the g4 square. If it's taken, then our rook will be joining the attack. Otherwise, we'll be creating a mating attack, and hopefully our pieces will be dragged towards opponent's king, and some tactics will be occurring. I have a question for you, and before you answer, I would like to pause the video and think about it. When you have an idea like h5 and you want to calculate, what do you think should be the first move that White is considering, or you should be considering, for the White pieces? The answer is counterattack in the center, almost always. So when you as Black are considering h5, you gotta look at e4 for White. If they manage to create enough counterplay in the center, you cannot attack on the flank. If we see a way in order to nullify the White's counterplay in the center or close the center somehow, then most of the time you are allowed to continue the attack against the White's king. If you are, by the way, enjoying the video, consider hiring me as your personal online chess coach. My contacts are on the right. In this game, Black calculated that there is a way to stop White's counterplay. We first start with h5. Grandmaster with the White pieces is also cooking with water. He is relying on the same principles that I'm teaching you. So he hits with e4. Now, if we're continuing with d4, which seems to close the center, White could play e5. This is a fork, although this seems to be a free pawn, but after taking, they will play rook e1, and Black is losing the queen. However, Black could play first the move knight to g4. Taking on g4 is not helping White at all because the rook is going to join the party. Therefore, White has to play g3 in order to defend the mating threat. Now Black is able to play d4 since Black is controlling the e5 square with the knight. So if we're just continuing with e5 for White, this is a free pawn, and after rook to e1, we could even castle and thank you for an extra pawn. This didn't happen in the game. White in the game played knight to e2. The more precise move for White would have been bishop f4, after which Black would have played knight to e5, and hopefully Black would continue the attack against the White's king. Let's see what happened in the game. Knight to e2, knight e5 attacking the bishop, knight f4 bringing the queen to defend the bishop, bishop g4, the bishop is coming into the attack, takes, and here already White resigned after just 2 moves. It's very hard to defend the initiative that Black is creating, specifically with knight coming to f3 and then rook h2, and White is lost in this position. Quite amazing. If you think about this position that we had at the start, we would expect that the game is going to be very long after something like castles. White will be developing the dark square bishop, and we have a long game awaiting for us. I have one more simple example for you. This was a position from my student's game. And the main plan for White, since we have opposite side castling, would of course to be pawn storming the opponent's king. For Black, he would probably, if possible, would like to conduct an attack against your king, or if he is not fast enough with that, create counterplay in the center. Should White immediately attack the Black's king with something like rook c1 and then bringing the queen? Or there is another important move that needs to be made before we can attack the Black's king. Relying on the same principle, before we attack on the flank, it is very important to close the center. This won't be allowing black to create counterplay, and now white is going to be much faster with the attack than black is on the king side. We could play b4, b5, hitting the bishop with a tempo, queen e4, knight to e5. Pieces are coming for the hunt and party on the queen side. Instead in the game, what happened was rook to c1 with similar ideas. Black sees that white perhaps is faster with the attack on the queen side, therefore they open up the center with d takes c4. We had takes on c4. Now there are interactions between the blacks and whites pieces in the center, which allows black to create counterplay. King to b8 happened. Black double up the rooks, played against the isolated pawn, and because right now the center is open and there are lots of interactions, like for example against this pawn in the center, white can no longer attack the black's king due to the duties and responsibilities they have in the center. So this is also a very good lesson from black's point of view. If you see that their attack on the flank is more formidable than your attack on the other side, you gotta seek for counterplay in the center, and opening up the center would usually increase the interactions between your and his pieces and give you counterplay. Thank you for watching. I hope this was useful. Subscribe to my chess channel, and I will see you in the next class. Bye bye.